Fortnite is the digital equivalent to that feeling you got waking up as a kid on Saturday morning, throwing on some random cartoons and mashing all your favorite action figures together while eating way too much sugar. Epic Games have prided themselves on pushing the brand beyond its survival roots or popular battle royale mode, making this the go-to sandbox for all kinds of random game modes and collaborative cosmetics. There's a lot that can be said about this game, but today I wanted to sit down with you all and discuss if Fortnite is worth your time in the big 2026. Some of you watching may know that I first gave Fortnite a chance way back at the start of Chapter 6, and while I really enjoyed my time, I did kind of feel a bit burnt out by the time Chapter 7 rolled around. I think it was a combination of a few things that made me set the game down for a bit. For one, I was trying to play and grind as much as I could in my free time to get better. Hey, I said better, not good. I know my gameplay is still dog water, but stick with me here. Second, I was a little upsetty spaghetti with the direction that Epic Games was taking some things, specifically when it came to the influx of fancy schmancy cosmetics, the V-Bucks pricing changes, and then their decision to lay off a bunch of their employees while paying out thousands of dollars a month to AI slop maps.
Well, hold on a second there, House. You said you were done with Fortnite in those past videos. And now, here you are. You're nothing but a big old hypocrite.
You know what? Yeah, sure, man. I mean, I specifically said in my last video on Fortnite that I may dip back in the future to see how things have changed. I missed all of Chapter 7 Season 2, so I figured while I have some downtime, I might as well dip my toe back into the Fortnite pool to see how things have been going. I was just curious, and I thought that maybe this would be a good game to use to test my live streams and this new video format, so yeah, I'm back for this video. Sue me, I guess. Going forward, we may check out other live service and multiplayer games, but we'll also be sprinkling in some single-player goodness, so hopefully you guys enjoy. Without further ado though, let's dive into Chapter 7 Season 3, Runners. So let's set some expectations right out of the gate. We're not going to be talking about Save the World or OG or any of the side modes or user-created content in this video. Fortnite has a lot to offer as it has established itself as a platform to kind of rival Roblox, but I personally see Battle Royale as the main flagship mode, and I think that a lot of you agree with me on that if I had to guess. So yeah, all that to say, we're going to be focusing on the main Battle Royale mode, specifically zero builds and solos. This is because A, I'm still kind of trash at the game, so I don't think my ego can handle being full boxed every single match. And B, I have no friends to play with. No, this is not a bit. I don't have any friends that play this game anymore. Sorry. The main draw of a Battle Royale game is the competitive battle against everyone on the map to come out on top and be the last player standing. Fortnite has been in the BR game for a long time, so they have the formula down. But one of my frustrations when stepping away was the fact that each match seemed kind of repetitive. I did like how the devs tried to shake things up by having quests to complete and secondary objectives like breaking into vaults during Lawless or repelling bug attacks in Shock and Awesome, because this made it feel like you were still accomplishing something or making progress even if you didn't win the match. That said, I can distinctly remember feeling like Fortnite needed to bring more to the table to keep their player base engaged, and we'll discuss whether or not I feel like they've accomplished this in Chapter 7 Season 3 very soon. Don't you worry your sweet little head. So how does the Battle Royale hold up? Is it accessible to new players, and has it changed enough to bring old fans back? Let's take some time to break it all down, and of course, please be sure to leave your opinion on the current state of the game in the comments below. First up, let's talk about my experience coming back to the game. While a lot of things felt familiar, I could definitely tell that there are many things that have changed since the last time I played. Despite all those differences and changes, the core of what makes this game interesting is still standing strong. At its most basic level in terms of a third-person shooter, Fortnite still stands out as one of the best examples of a game that is easy to pick up but has a ton to master. This is a game game that invites almost anyone of any skill level to drop in with a group of friends and just have a good time. But as they spend more time playing, they will be rewarded with more opportunities to improve their aim, movement, positioning, and strategy. I really like that the skill floor is low, but that the skill ceiling in this game is in the stratosphere, so there's always something to work on and improve if that's your thing. Moving around the map still feels great, and I like the changes that they made by giving every player access to shockwaves right from the start of the game as a special utility item. Everybody who played Zero builds always carried at least one stack of these bad boys, so just giving them to everyone on a cooldown is a great way to even the playing field if you ask me. At first I was really afraid that this was going to encourage too much of that whole run jack playstyle, and it may be like that in some of the higher skill tier lobbies, but for me it was just a nice little quality of life change that made things more streamlined. Well, that is when I remembered I had them and to use them. Yeah, I'm kind of a forgetful Freddy when it comes to using utility items, but that's more of a me thing than something to hold against Fortnite. All of the weapons I used fit the familiar archetypes you would expect, like a full auto AR versus a burst firing rifle, or a pump shotgun versus an auto shotty. But they were all a joy to use, and I don't think I picked up any single weapon that I hated playing with. The only gun that I didn't really care for was the basic starting pistol, but I mean, that's kind of the point. It's a quick gun to use when you first drop into the map until you can find something else, not something that's going to carry you through the whole match. The only real gripe I have with the gameplay is something that has bothered me for a while, but it only seems worse now somehow. I personally don't like how the presence of bots affects each match. Now, maybe this is only an issue for me in the Boo Boo Baby Weenie Hut Jr. queue that I'm locked into so I don't hurt myself, but I saw a lot of other players that were clearly actually bots when I played. I could tell because I had found myself realizing in real time that my positioning or aim was doo-doo poopy pants, but I was still coming out on top, even in instances where I didn't get the first shot off. I mean, I guess it was nice to not have to re-queue right away, but this also had two big effects on how my games went. First, it made each of these little victories feel hollow. Even when I won a game, I would be like, yeah, I mean, that's cool, but I really only took out like 5 or 6 bots, so how proud can I really feel? I managed to score a victory royale on my very first game back, and while that was nice to see and I was happy to have the umbrella, deep down, I knew that I only got that win because I had been put in the mostly bot beginner queue. So that kind of made it feel empty. Second, the abundance of bots made it so whenever I came across another real-life player, I was almost immediately dog-walked and sent packing back to the lobby. I don't know if this is just a me thing, but it feels like I'm playing basketball against elementary school kids when I'm fighting the bots, and then all of a sudden, whoopsie, here comes LeBron James here to clap my cheeks. The whiplash is really unpleasant, and it feels bad because while I know, yes, I need to work on my skills, I can't help but feel like the game kind of set me up for failure a bit. And when I inevitably fail, I don't feel like I am prepared to really tackle the challenge in the future on my next attempt. The game just decided now was my time to meet a higher skilled player without any real ramping up in that difficulty. So that just kind of sucks. The biggest change that had me excited for runners was the addition of the sprites. Objectively, I know these little guys are just a way for Epic Games to cash in on the hype of the extraction shooters genre. If that wasn't clear, just think about why they would choose somebody specifically like the Burnt Peanut, who gained their popularity through Tarkov and Arc Raiders, to be featured in this system. So yeah, I understand why it's there from a business standpoint to get some of that crowd interested in Fortnite and capitalize on the trend, but I also really enjoy this mechanic because of how it shakes up the gameplay and provides secondary objectives. I'm a big fan of alternative progression in games, like I mentioned when I was talking about previous seasons. And being able to try and find sprites that I haven't seen yet is a great way for me to get that just one more match feeling. I grew up in the era of Pokemon hype, so collecting things is a no-brainer for me. I also really enjoyed my time with Arc Raiders and Marathon, so knowing that I may lose my hard-earned loot is a rush that I find compelling. Just seeing a rare gummy sprite or pulling 2 new legendary sprites I have never seen before in one match and trying to extract them safely gets my blood pumping. And if I can pull it off, it makes it feel like I have accomplished something even if I get killed immediately afterwards. Overall, I think this season takes what was already good about Fortnite and builds on top of it in a way that makes moment-to-moment gameplay an absolute joy. There's always something to work on, something to improve and discover, and it has been a while since I had that feeling that I just wanted to stay up later or get up early just to keep playing. I'm sure a lot of people who have been playing more than I have already gotten bored by the whole sprite system by now, and Epic Games definitely can't rely on this feature to carry the game forever going forward, but for right now, I find it to be a fun and engaging system that adds to the experience in a really enjoyable way. Next, I wanted to take some time to talk about the vibe and atmosphere of the current Fortnite season. Normally in a video like this, I would talk more about the story of the game, but to be honest, I wasn't really 100% sure of what was happening even before I took a step away from the game, so I don't really have a clue as to what's going on right now. All I know is the little snippets that you lovely viewers have told me in the comments and during my live streams, so I know that there was this big war between Dwayne The Rock, The Foundation Johnson, and Snowmiser, and I guess Jones got murked by Gino or something, but that's really about all I've got. I'm sure there's some incredible videos on other channels going over the current lore if you are interested in that, but yeah, sorry, we don't got that here. I'm sure the story is really cool though. The entire island has been refreshed since the last time I played at the beginning of Chapter 7, and while I enjoyed the vibe they were going for in Pacific Break, it did feel a little samey for me. This season, I have to say the variety of areas in current POIs are a lot more fun for me to explore and fight in, and each area that you drop in feels distinct. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of the island at the beginning of Chapter 6. Back then, there was a consistent theme with the Japanese feel of everything, but each area had its own biome or color scheme and all of that. I really liked that when I first started trying out Fortnite, and I get a similar feel to the current map with runners. It's nice to see the island can have a little more variety than we got at the beginning of the chapter, while still feeling cohesive. Overall, I think that the current vibe accomplishes what it needs to. The map is a fun sandbox for all us wacky warriors to clash in, and I like that you can either drop every game at your favorite POI or switch it up every match, and either way, you're going to have a good time. Making a world that is enjoyable to play on is half the battle in a battle royale game, and Fortnite has always done a good job prioritizing that, which I think goes a long way towards making the game stand out compared to its competitors. In terms of presentation, Epic Games has consistently done a great job of making sure things look and sound great, ever since I've been playing the game at least. The POIs are all unique like we talked about earlier, and the love and care that goes into the layout and little details really goes a long way towards making the map memorable. After spending so many years playing and covering other games that were desaturated or a gray-brown mess, I have always really appreciated how Fortnite is not afraid to use color in their world. To me, it makes the game more interesting to look at, and it helps each area stand out more without blending all together in my mind. The sound design of each weapon is great, and things feel punchy enough that it doesn't feel like you're using pea shooters without completely drowning out all the small little details like footsteps. I really like the way Epic Games approaches sound design, although I will say that I was a little sad to see the visual sound indicator radius reduced or changed, whatever they did to it. As an older dude who spent a lot of his younger years around loud amplifiers, my ears don't work as well as they used to. So I guess I just really appreciated having more of a heads up on where people were. That said, I can definitely see how some players could become too reliant on crutching on those indicators over their own awareness, but yeah. Selfishly, I want my little sound helpy boys back to full strength. When this chapter first started, I liked the look of the island overall, but I was afraid that it would just be another map for me and not necessarily something that I would remember years down the road. In chapter 6, for instance, I felt like the island was almost a character itself because it had so much detail that stood out and changed how you approached each fight. And I was a little bummed because in Pacific Break, I didn't get that feeling at all. I also didn't like that at first the new map felt fake and not like a real place where you could see people living. 2 seasons on from that though, I have to give credit where credit is due. This map feels way more fleshed out, and I think that the visuals add to the experience and make each area you fight in feel like they stick out and are interesting. So all of that rambling aside, is Fortnite worth your time in 2026? In reality, the answer to that question depends entirely on what you're bringing to the table. Are you someone who enjoyed the game but had to take a step away for whatever reason and are curious about diving back in? Or are you someone who never tried the game but you're curious to see what all the hype is about? In that case, I have to say that Chapter 7, Season 3 is worth checking out. It has a lot of stuff on offer, and there is bound to be at least a few things that you find enjoyable. Runners has a lot of steps in the right direction, and I think it's fair to say that in terms of consistency of quality, this has been one of the better seasons that I have personally experienced. On the other hand, if you're someone who played the absolute crap out of Fortnite for years and got burnt out, or you feel like the devs are making some bad choices that have soured your opinion of the game, then I'm sad to say that I don't think that there is anything here that will cause you to overlook those grievances. While it does a lot of things right, Runners does not have enough good to outweigh the bad for some players. And if you're in that camp, I don't think there's enough in this update that can realistically reignite your love for Fortnite. I think at the end of the day, Fortnite is at the very least a fun distraction with some friends, and the fact that you can download the game for free easily earns it at least a few points. The biggest question you have to ask is if your time would be better spent or enjoyed elsewhere, and I can't answer that for your specific situation, unfortunately. There's definitely some things I don't like personally about how things are being handled behind the scenes currently, but I can't deny how much fun I had revisiting the game. The new features and additions are nice, and while I enjoyed my time I spent in Runners, when I eventually sat down to write this review, I won't lie to you guys, I still had a bad taste in my mouth about the choices the devs have been making lately. It was nice to take a trip back down memory lane to the game that really got this channel started, but I think that it will still be a while before I feel comfortable supporting this game financially or playing it full time. Not saying that you need to feel the same way, this is just how it feels for me currently, if I'm being honest with you and honest with myself. With all that said, I would still like to ask that you guys refrain from using my creator code until things change for the better. This is my own small way of protesting how Epic Games has done these price changes and how they're prioritizing how they spend their money, their use of AI, all of it. But with that said, if you want to buy stuff from the game, that is completely your choice. I'm not hating on anyone who is enjoying the game and wants to support it. And if you are one of those people, I would encourage you to use another small creators code at checkout to help support them if you would like to. That said, those of you who want to support the channel more can feel free to check out channel memberships, or better yet, my new Patreon page that has some pretty cool benefits, including getting your name featured here at the end of videos like all of these lovely folks on the screen. Be sure to let me know how you're feeling about Fortnite currently, and let me know if you have any other games you would like to see me cover in the future. The next video will probably be on a single player game if everything goes according to plan, so be sure to keep an eye out for that and all of our future live streams if that's your thing. We would love to have you guys there to hang out. Also, make sure you do all the YouTube stuff to help support the video, and you know what, hit the dislike button if you didn't like the video, that's cool too. But that's all for me today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. And as always, make sure to eat well, stay hydrated, take care of yourself and those around you. And I'll see you in the next one, friends.